Hello, my dear students. Yes, chapter number 4 of economics. Today I will start with the second part of the chapter, that is monetary policy. Now, in economic theory, monetary policy is a policy which regulates the demand for money and supply of money in the economy. It is essential to regulate these as an imbalance between demand for money and supply of money can result in inflation or deflation. Yes, if there will be imbalance in the demand and supply, then it won't be good for economy. It can impact the value of Indian currency and destabilize, that is, imbalance the economy. Hence, monetary policy is also known as one of the stabilization policies, as it brings the balance. So, it is known as the stabilization policy. Now, in earlier times, the purpose of monetary policy in India was to regulate the volume of money, that is the quantity of money, value of money and nature of money. In the present times, the monetary policy is used more for credit creation, which I have already explained to you. Now, from the viewpoint of economic theory, monetary policy constitutes the conscious steps undertaken by the monetary authority which bring about changes in the stock of money, source or generation of money and cost of money. Yes, over here the steps are taken so that with the help of this we can make the changes in the stock of money, source or generation of money and cost of money. The policy which entrusts various tools of regulating supply of money in the hands of the apex bank with the purpose of achieving general economic objectives is called monetary policy. Yes, over here various tools are used which are helpful in regulating the supply of money. It is done by the apex bank, and over here the purpose is to achieve the general economic objectives. Now, in simple terms, the policy undertaken by the apex bank, that is the central bank, RBI for our country, for regulating the supply of money in order to maintain the economic stability, keeping into consideration the process of economic development and interest of public, is called monetary policy. Over here it is a repetition again, that is to bring the stability. Now we move on to the instruments of monetary policy. The important instruments of monetary policy can be explained as, over here it is divided into two. The first one is quantitative measures, that is the general measures. The second one is selective, that is qualitative measures. Now, I start with quantitative measures. The quantitative measures are aimed at, are goaled at impacting the entire economy. Over here, it will have effect on the complete economy in a general, that is common way, and hence these are called general measures. I hope I am clear to you, students. Now I move on to the very first one, that is bank rate. Now, when commercial banks have shortage of funds, when there is scarcity of funds with the commercial banks, they borrow from RBI. The rate at which RBI lends to commercial banks for long term is called bank rate. Over here the lending is for long term. If the bank rate is increased, commercial banks will borrow less. It is obvious that they will have to pay more as returns, so they will borrow less. Yes, it will become expensive to borrow. When they borrow lesser amounts and at higher rates, they give lesser amount of loans and at higher rate to general public, and when people get fewer loans, their demand for certain goods and services falls. It is very simple and easy, students. When the commercial bank will get their lending at higher rates, it is obvious that they will take less amount from RBI. Now, as they have taken less amount from RBI, they will be able to give loan of less amount and at higher rates. Now, as the rates will be higher, it is but natural that less people will take loan. So, over here, they will reduce the demand for certain commodities. On the whole, there is lesser creation of money, lower demand for goods, and lower circulation of money in the economy. Yes, over here, the circulation of money in the country will reduce. When the economy is under the grip of inflation, bank rate is increased to control inflation. Now, the other side. When supply of money is higher than demand for money, there is inflation, and hence reducing money supply helps in reducing inflation. And if supply of money is lower than the demand for money, there is depression. The policy of keeping the bank rate very low is called cheap money policy. As over here the bank rate is low, the interest will also be low. So, cheap money policy. And the policy of keeping the bank rate very high is called dear money policy. Now, RBI has stopped using bank rate as an instrument to regulate money supply since last few years, and is using repo rate and reverse repo rate instead. It means instead of bank rate, nowadays repo rate and reverse repo rate is used. Bank rate is a rate for long term and hence cannot be changed in very short period, while repo rate and reverse repo rates can be altered, can be changed in very short periods. Also, thus they help to regulate money supply in the short term. Now on the screen you will find the trends of bank rate in India. Different years are given. In 1953, the bank rate in percentage was 3.5. The latest one that is given to you is of the year 2016. The bank rate was 7%. The second one is repo rate and reverse repo rate. When commercial banks need funds, need money for very short period, say 1 day, 7 days or 15 days, etc., they sell some securities which are held by them to RBI with a repurchase agreement at a particular rate. Yes, and this rate is called repo rate. Simple, no? The word repo is used for the term repurchase rate. Over here, the lending by RBI to commercial banks is for short time period. Banks sell government securities to RBI in order to raise money for very short term with a condition to repurchase them at some discount. Such a discounting rate is called repurchase rate or repo rate. Now, when there is inflation, central banks increase repo rate as this act as a disincentive, as a discouragement for banks to borrow from the central bank. Yes, obviously, as the rates will be increased, the commercial banks will ask for less funds. Subsequently, they lend to general public at higher rate, and ultimately people borrow less, and thus money supply and inflation are arrested. Money supply and inflation are reduced. Now I move on to reverse repo rate. Reverse repo rate means the agreed upon rate at which the RBI repurchases its securities from the commercial banks in the event when RBI has to borrow short-term funds from the commercial banks by parking their securities with the commercial banks. Now over here, RBI, when RBI needs funds, it will take from, RBI will get the funds from commercial banks. I hope I am clear. Over here also the time period is short. Even the RBI sells government securities held by it to commercial banks under the condition of repurchasing those at a discounted rate upon the end of the short term period. An increase in reverse repo rate means that commercial banks will get more incentives to park their funds with RBI by lending more to RBI. Yes, as the reverse repo rate will increase, the commercial banks will be able to earn more by lending to RBI. By lending more to RBI, thereby decreasing their lending to general public and ultimately reducing the supply of money in the market and vice versa. Yes, over here as the lending will increase, over here commercial bank will lend more to RBI, so it will have less number of funds, less amount of funds for general public, and so the supply of money in the market will reduce. Now on the screen you will find the table that is related to repo rate and reverse repo rate in past few years. Students, now I move on to our next topic, that is stabilization under emergency situation. This is also called marginal standing facility. Now there is a special window for banks to borrow from RBI against approved government securities in an emergency situation like an acute cash shortage, when there is very much shortage of cash. Then in such situation the commercial bank can borrow from RBI. This rate is higher than repo rate. In 2016 this rate was 7%. Now I move on to cash reserve ratio, that is CRR. Under the RBI Act 1934, all commercial banks have to keep certain minimum cash reserves with RBI. This is what we have already studied, but over here this topic I'll explain you in detail. Initially CRR was decided to be 5% of demand deposits and 2% of time deposits. It was variable as per the requirement felt by RBI. Yes, it can be changed if RBI feels like. Since 1962, CRR is variable between 3% and 15% of the total deposits of individual banks. CRR fulfills the need of a comfortable amount of cash reserves with the banking system in case many customers start withdrawing their deposits and banks have to provide cash against their deposits. Yes, you all know that whenever a depositor wants, he can withdraw the amount. So over here there will be enough amount of cash with the banking system. Besides, this is also used as an instrument to control inflation. When CRR is higher, commercial banks have lesser deposit money to create credit. Thus, they give fewer loans to people and hence money supply and inflation are curtailed, are curbed. CRR is reduced in times of deflation and depression. Again, the same thing is repeated over here, that when the CRR is higher, is increased by RBI, the commercial banks will have less funds to create the credit, and it is obvious that if they are having less funds, they will be able to lend money in less amount. They give fewer loans to the people and hence the supply of money and inflation are curtailed. CRR is reduced in the times of deflation and depression. Students, with this I am done with some quantitative measures, that is general measures. I'll continue with the same topic of general measures in my next video. Till that time, take care of yourself and thank you.